The next thing I'm going to do with this side and face is to back off the side teeth. Now there is a little bit of damage on this one. You don't normally grind the side teeth. It's on a side and face. They're usually okay because you're just really going milling forward. But sometimes you need to just touch the side teeth and clean them up, take out any small nicks or anything, because they can leave scores around if you're doing a groove or going up to the side of a piece of whatever you're milling. It can just leave circular marks. So I'm just going to skim this, and I'll just show the setup and the way which I do these. Now you really need a small workhead to hold these. There's not really any other practical way to do them. And some people have them mounted horizontally, and they have a wheel which they'll have a cylindrical wheel with it, like a cupway with an angle on it, and just go across and index round. That's one way of doing them, but the best way is to put them in a small workhead and just angle over and grind them. Normally the teeth on side and face cutters do have a taper, and this one I've set to 0, and at the rear of the tooth it's approximately 1/8 thou taper towards the rear, and that's about normal, is that. And that just gives you that bit of clearance to stop the cutter from jamming if you're doing a groove especially, and it gives plenty of chip clearance. So you really need to stick to that. And there we can see it's approximately 8 thou, 7 or 8 thou difference taper towards the back. Incidentally, don't forget to put paper washers on your spindle if you're putting on a grinding wheel or changing a grinding wheel. Always have paper washers on. You don't want to be putting a wheel on directly against any steel. It's a bit dangerous, and it can cause cracks, and you don't know what's going to happen. Wheel could fly apart. As you can see, this is a different setup altogether now for doing the side and face. I'm using a workhead, and I've got the cutter mounted on the same arbor what I used to do with the ODs. It's pretty universal, is this little arbor. It's coming very helpful. Could use the index, but I'm gonna use a spring-loaded tooth rest. So we'll see how the setup looks when I've got it all finished. Now basically this is similar to what I did before, by getting the tooth on centre line there, making sure that it's horizontal, it's parallel, using my gauge, and then it's just a matter really of fixing the tooth rest. Now you can use any kind of tooth rest, nothing special here, and all this is a piece of old saw blade which has been brazed to a piece of steel rod, and that's all you really need. You don't need a micrometer or just one with this. You just make sure that is still horizontal, and all I do then is just make sure that the rod, this bar, is and just make sure that this is tightened up slightly, and then the tooth rest can go in there, and then it's gently moved over. So just make sure that the tooth is in correct position, and then just ease up the saw blade tooth rest till it just touches under the tooth and tighten up, and that should be okay. And that is what you want to aim for, and it's nice and firm. As I say, anything can be used, old saw blade or any spring materials ideal, and it won't blunt the teeth either. And the next thing to do is to make sure that this tooth is still parallel. It needs to be checked with the clock to make sure that it's parallel with the wheel, because as I checked it before, it's a roughly 1/7 drop to the rear. I want to try and keep that. Don't want to be taking more off at front, otherwise the cutter might rub when in use. So I just need to check that now with the dial indicator. Now this work I just have some small graduations and the marks off, and it is on 7 degrees. If you haven't got any markings on your wheel head, just use one of these and that'll do it. Just set it. It's not have to be super accurate, but that's the best way. Well, now I'm just going to check see how parallel it is, and I think that shouldn't be too far away. Now we're more or less ready to go. It's important to make sure that the wheel head is lowered enough to clear the tooth above. You don't want to be hitting the tooth above. And we'll just check and make sure. Yeah, and also make sure that your stop is set. You need to have your stop set, otherwise you'll end up crashing into your arbor or the tooth above. It'll make a mess. So that's 2 important things to remember. Now we'll just take a light skim just to see where it's touching and see if any adjustment is needed. And that will be okay. Make sure everything's tightened up. And it's just a matter now of going round. It doesn't matter if it's taken slightly more off the rear, it's only for clearance. And these teeth aren't particularly good. And they've not been ground correctly, I don't think, whoever's ground them before. And that one's missing altogether. That's just touching. Just get the handle in the right position for the Travis. It doesn't seem to want to play. See if I can get my handle back in that position. There. Right, we're back to the start, and a slight more advancing on the tooth. You find side teeth on most milling cutters are not really well milled. They're a little bit hit and miss. And it can affect the grinding. And incidentally, you really do need some dust extraction. I've omitted mine because it just will block everything, and you won't be able to see any grinding. And we're back to the start, I think. Let's go around once more without putting a cut on. Just a tiny amount. And that will be the last. Right, back to the first tooth, and I shall call that it. And now it's just a matter of doing the other side. It's a repetition of this side, but from the opposite, and exactly the same setup. Well, this is just exactly the same as I did on the opposite side, but I've turned the wheel head round, and the cutter is now on the left hand side. It's basically the same, and it's just a matter of just going round and grinding the teeth. Pop some blue on there so we know which tooth we're starting and finishing with. We should put another cut on there. There we are, up to the last tooth, and that will do for that job. That is ground okay. Right, that's the cutter finished, all nice and sharp, like a razor. Unfortunately, I could not grind this out. It would be too much, and as I said before, it won't make any difference. It's rather nasty as that. It's probably done some years ago. Certainly I haven't done it, but as I said, this is a borrowed cutter with the other, and before I return it to my friend, I make sure that it's nicely sharpened up. I wouldn't want to give him back a blunt cutter. It just wouldn't be right. So that's and this one I haven't touched the size. It doesn't need it really. They're quite sharp. The staggered teeth of these on the side. Each alternate one's lower than the one in front. Same on this side. That concludes that. Well, I hope you found this of interest, doing these side and face cutters and the saw blade, and especially this one doing the side teeth, which you don't often do. But that's that job now completed, and it's come out very good. I do plan to do some more tool and cutter grinding videos in the near future, and especially the one which I mentioned quite some time back about relieving the drills. These are some special drills I made some while back. They're step drills, as you can see, and they've got a small angle on. This is a square bottom drill, and I've relieved these on the OD as if they were done like the main diameter. It's radially relieved, and it's same with this one. I've done this on 2 of them, and it's a special technique to get the correct backing off. If you try and back them off like an end mill, you've got to do it in stages, and it doesn't work out right really. It's never really a good job when you do it, and this is the best way. And we used to do this quite a lot at one of the tool and gauge companies I worked for. We'd get drills to be modified, and long after they've been finished size, and we'd have to grind them down and then use this backing off method. It's a special setup, and it can be a bit tricky, but I will try and show it, because it's a very handy method, is that. But yeah, so that's something I'm going to try and do. Well, again, as I say, I hope you found it of interest and of use, and I'll return these now to my friend, nicely sharpened. And once again, thank you for watching.